Hey guys, so I'm going to talk to you here a little bit about shadow work. For those of you that aren't familiar with the concept of shadow work, to me, I feel that it's kind of defined as the events or occurrences throughout your life that take you just a little bit further away from source energy. So when we first incarnate here, we're very closely connected to source. As a baby, we have more awareness of that, of energy and of our part in something bigger. And then as we go through our life, the events that happen to us, the things that are told to us, the conditioning that we experience takes us a little bit further away from that knowledge. And the shadow work is the kind of maybe more, not exactly physical side, but the events that have happened, um, that that cause us to separate further from source, and that often leads us to or is caused by destructive behavior, um, and shows up as depression, anger, frustration, not being able to move forward in life, not sort of feeling connected, not really wanting to be part of your human experience. Shadow work, I think, comes up particularly when you're on a spiritual journey, because it's like you are putting out the frequency that you are ready to release the density in order to be able to lift yourself to a more ascended state. So, quite often, the beginnings and throughout a spiritual journey, but especially in the beginnings, you're still learning to recognize these things, can seem particularly tough, and you find that things are stripped away from you that you thought were secure or constant in your life. I did a meditation to ask for some kind of extra guidance that I could provide on how to release shadow work, because it can be quite a tricky thing to know how to do if you're not aware that it's even happening, which many of us aren't a lot of the time. And so I was guided by Lyran energy that came through to kind of give a little bit more perspective on how we can familiarize and release the shadow. So, as Kundalini, the energy that moves up through the spine, as that rises, shadow work may appear in order to release the density which is blocking the Kundalini from rising. So, like, make its way a little bit up, and then if it hits blocks, um, you'll you may find that you don't progress anymore till some shadow work comes up and you release it. So if you are doing any work for that kind of purpose, whether you're actively doing Kundalini work or you are just soul journeying and trying to connect to source energy more often, you're kind of going through the same process. So you're likely to find that the shadow comes up. That can show itself in all manner of different ways and is often triggered by other people too. Sometimes they will be moved into your path in order to reflect something at you that has caused a shadow in the past. And obviously, because of that, quite frequently we just feel that other people are maybe a negative influence in our life, or don't understand maybe why someone's upsetting us when they wouldn't usually. And if we can recognize that there may be something in that interaction that is something that we need to release, it will help us for that person to be removed, like, peacefully, and move on from mixing, within your life, or for the unease of the situation to go away. And you can, if it's someone who's usually in your life, it can help to release any, like, difficult feeling that's going on there. It's not always shown up by somebody else. Sometimes it'll just be something that you see or encounter that triggers a feeling of discomfort or sadness or anger that you don't really know where it kind of comes from. And that can often be because you're being triggered by something. So the first thing is to just identify if you are having these kind of feelings of discomfort or anger, frustration, just generally the kind of negative spectrum of emotions, and you don't really know why or what that is. Then you can go into a meditation, um, maybe just with some music in the background. Just close your eyes and feel the light of source energy start to come through into your crown and move through your body. And then the Lyrans showed me that the pattern, the flower of life, maybe check it out online. It's quite an easy thing to find if you're not familiar with the flower of life already, is like the blueprint of the universal consciousness, of cosmic consciousness. So we all have that kind of blueprint. But then on top of it is woven another geometrical pattern, which is very complicated, which meets up with all the different points where the connections are on the flower of life grid. And that pattern on top of that is like the kind of blueprint for our soul's journey. The places where different events connect us, where our different incarnations come into that as well. And they kind of showed me that if you can go into a meditation and visualize that grid, and it may show up for you in any way, you may just perceive a feeling of it and not see anything directly, that you take yourself into the center of the grid and just ask for it to take you to the point where the shadow was created. And then you find yourself moved to a different place in space and time and experience just a flashback, usually, of a moment where that shadow was created, and it may seem completely unrelated to anything that you're experiencing at the moment. So when I was doing this for myself, I saw an event that I thought had absolutely no bearing on anything at all, but actually created a behavior that was self-destructive many years later, which then caused something else to happen. So I had to release kind of two layers there. You may see it as a visual image, you may just have a flashback to the moment, or you may just hear a word of the emotion that was produced. So for me, I heard the word vulnerability. So recognizing that I was feeling that vulnerability in a negative way is what I was able to interact with. And then they just showed me the mantra. So whichever emotion you're feeling, you can apply this here, or whatever feeling you're having. But for me, it was, I release this vulnerability and take back my power. So you're on the grid, you see where the moment was, or you just get a feeling of the emotion that was produced. It doesn't matter if you don't directly see the actual event. And you say, I release the emotion and take back my power. And say that 3 times. And that will help you to step into that shadow work and be able to release the blockages that it's causing there. If that's thoroughly confused anyone, please drop me a message and I'll try and explain it a bit more clearly. And I will try and get a meditation online for you guys that will help to go into that grid and experience that process as well. Thanks, everyone.